Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is buttermint tea in a very tiny teacup. Very little. Not even my smallest one, but this is at least one that holds a good amount of tea for its size, you know? So I thought that would be appropriate enough. So I'm doing a kind of a shelf tour, and it's just of my smallest books. And I have, you know, books in every size. I like books in every size, but I do have some books that are rather small. You could see slightly above me. Yeah, there it is. Anyway, right above, there it is. Where my collector's library books are. Those are rather small, or the little penguin books. But that's small in a normal sense, but these are even smaller. Sometimes it can be a struggle because of my eyesight, but most of the time I can handle it. My prescription eyeglasses are pretty good. But so I'm going to show you my slightly small books, and then I'm going to get to my really small ones. How many times am I going to say small? Anyway, these are 2 box sets that I bought. Not great quality, you could tell from one of them, but I think Barnes & Noble sold them, and I think they were really good bargains, so I thought, oh, it would be nice to have these things in my library. This first one, I'm almost sure I bought in 2002, because I remember that time of who I was with or whatever, and it just seems like it was 2002. So this is my Shakespeare, my smaller Shakespeare collection. I have a big book now, too, and I have a couple of versions of sonnets around. When people buy me things, often, people don't buy me books very often, but they tend to buy me Shakespeare sonnets. I don't know why. And that's okay, because I like Shakespeare sonnets. But this is missing one of the volumes. It's because I'm reading it, and I've been a little behind in my Shakespeare reading this month, but I was reading one of the volumes, so it's not in here, but you can see the general idea. It has pretty much all the plays and the poems and sonnets and everything. And I mean, it's handy. It's not actually that fancy. I mean, they have the gilded edges, but you know, kind of cardboardy. The writing is a bit small, so you have to be in the mood for that. But so far I can do that. As long as I can, then I will. But I don't make a habit of reading these all the time. Just every once in a while, I'll pick up a volume and carry it with me somewhere. I have a hair in my face. As you can probably tell, me fussing with my face. But anyway. And then this is, you can see this is the one that kind of is falling apart. Great Writers and Poets. In 10 volumes. So. And by the way, you're going to get repetitive, some of these things. Because they seem to repeat themselves. But, they come in these little red books. And they've all kind of got scratched up on the sides, but not as small, the writing in these. But, so we have Burns, as in Robert Burns. Byron, as in Lord Byron. Emily Dickinson. Oh, they have her name out. Anyway. Donne, as in John Donne. Donne, I think. I like John Donne, but I can never say his name. Keats, which I actually specifically remember bringing this with me and reading in its entirety a few years back. Longfellow, which is William Wordsworth Longfellow, I think. Goodness. I think it's written in here at some point. Henry Wadsworth. Where did William come from? Who cares? Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I should get to know him a little better. Edgar Allan Poe. Small one. I have a lot of Edgar Allan Poe. I went through a phase. But this is a really small Poe. Let me see what it has in here. Selected poems, basically. Poems. Man, it's been ages since I read this. Terrible quality, these books, but they look kind of nice. Shelley. Walt Whitman. Another one that they gave the full name for. Big chunky. I also have Leaves of Grass somewhere. I wonder if this is, yeah. Anyway, I have Leaves of Grass somewhere. And Wordsworth. Is this? Wait. William Wordsworth. See, this is the William I was thinking of. I know that sounds bizarre to get them mixed up because they lived at different time periods. Not that far apart, but far enough. But for some reason, those names, Wordsworth and Longfellow, always get them mixed up. I don't know why. I really think I should make it a project of mine to get to know those poets better so that I won't forget. You don't usually mix them up when you know them more intimately. Okay. Now I'm going to show you, well, before I get into my real collection, I'm going to show you a few small books that I had from over the years. I mean, I don't usually show phrase books, but I thought it was funny because I had gone to Peru many years ago, and I think it was after I got back from Peru. I got the Quechua phrase book. A little silly. And then I had these 3 books that when I went on my class trip to the cloisters, which is like a medieval cloisters, high up in the top of Manhattan, and it's technically a part of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, but it's a bit of a distance. I have barely been there a couple times in my life. A little bit creepy, but you know. And I guess I picked these all up for about 25 cents. These little books. So you got Medieval Towns and Guilds, the Renaissance, and the Artist's Workshop Tools and Techniques. I guess when I was about 8 years old, that was something to get. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. What I'm really going to start getting to show you guys, and again, this is probably going to also be repetitive. I went through a phase over a decade ago where I was wanting pretty books. And I mean, sometimes I would go to the library sale that I talk about sometimes in the New York Public Library, and they had some old books that were pretty good for really good prices. But sometimes I would go on eBay, and you can't really see behind Sherlock. I have Yeats, William Butler. Is that right, William? Come on. A collection of his poems and stuff. I particularly like that collection. It's the color green is really pretty. And up top I have one of Tristram Shandy, like really fine leather or whatever, and I got for decent prices. But after getting these, I realized I always treating them so carefully because, you know, I don't want to mess them up, and that's not really a way to enjoy reading, really. I like books that if I really want to, I could write in them. I don't like to write in books that often, but I like the option. It's the only problem with my collector's library, to be honest. Because the papers are so light, I can't even really put a sticky note on them because I feel like I'm going to mess something up. But in general, I like form and function. I like it to look nice, but more importantly, I want a book that I can, you know, touch without feeling like, oh goodness, I can't read this without kid gloves, you know? But I went through a phase where I was a little more about form and not function. But, is that right? But I was also going just through an eBay phase in general, which I don't recommend. It's addictive, but, you know, I've gotten past that pretty much. I don't think I ordered anything on eBay this year. But I got this thing called Little Leather Library. And if you look it up, which I did recently because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about, apparently it's like 100 years old. They started making these, and I don't know what purpose, but a lot of these are falling apart, but I just think that they are kind of cool to look at. Some of these, the nicer ones I have were published in the 40s, so I don't know where my Shakespeare. I know I have a Shakespeare with these. That's somewhere, but I have like a Keats and a Wordsworth, and so these are kind of nice. But the ones that I'm going to show you the most of, and I guess I must have bought them in bulk. I don't know if they're worth anything, because some of them are falling apart, but I'm literally just going to show you the titles and the authors, and maybe I'll occasionally make a comment on who they were. But they're all like, the ones that I have anywhere, mostly red and green. There are probably other ones too, but these are the ones that I have. So, without further ado, Salome by Oscar Wilde, which I probably have somewhere else. Wow, some of these are hard to read. Ghosts by Henrik Ibsen. Is that how you pronounce it? The Trial of Socrates by Plato. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I have not read this one. Actually, I haven't read a lot of these, but Sherlock Holmes by Conan Doyle. Well, you know I've read that, but see this one? It fell right apart in my hand. But so it has A Case of Identity and A Scandal in Bohemia. in here. I don't know particularly because I haven't really checked if they're abridged at all. I'm kind of hoping they're not. It doesn't say so. Okay. The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde. Goodness, you have to really turn them. Pippa Passes by Robert Browning. I have other Robert Brownings elsewhere. Pippa Passes is yeah. See? The writing's not that small. The Gold Bug by Poe. So we got more Poe going on. A little bit right in there. Enoch Arden by Tennyson. I have a biography of Tennyson that I got recently. I'd like to get into him a little more. Finest Story in the World by Rudyard Kipling. I can never say his name. Did they say when this was written? No. I'm wondering if any of these I could have done for Victober, but too late, I think. So this is Bab Ballads by W.S. Gilbert. I know nothing about W.S. Gilbert. I could look him up, but I'm lazy. So, Barrack Room Ballads by Kipling again. Inferno, Volume 2 by Dante. Let's find out if I have the other volumes. The Tempest, Shakespeare. Which actually is probably a little bit, even though it's falling apart, the lettering is easier to read than those blue books that I had. Irish Melodies by Thomas Moore. Uses of Great Men by Emerson. I have another volume of Emerson somewhere. Comtesse de Saint-Geran by Dumas, which I'm reading right now. Count of Monte Cristo. Very big book. Oh, it's our friend Poe again. The Murders in the Rue Morgue. The Happy Prince. Did I have that already? I think I did. Deja vu, you know. Christ in Flanders by Balzac. Sounds like a curse. All right. So now we're up to our next. I keep them in these little, I don't know where I got these boxes. They come into another box. It works for me. Okay, so we have Moo by Turgenev. Or Turgenev. Ivan Turgenev. Kasayan of Fair Springs. Yeah, I don't know. Why it says Kasayan of Fair Springs in here, but Moo outside. I'm very confused. Memories of President Lincoln by Walt Whitman. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Wasn't that like connected? Oh. This is the Greatest Thing in the World by Drummond. Dreams by Schreiner. Let's see. Olive Schreiner. Poems by Robert Burns. Poems by Robert Burns. Deja vu. Okay. Some of these. Tilly Lost Scandal by James Barrie. Oh, James Barrie. Do you know who James Barrie is? J.M. Barrie? Peter Pan? Yes. Essays by Emerson. Friendship and Other Essays by Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau. Who I've been meaning to get back into. Land of Hearts Desired by W.B. Yeats. The Tempest by Shakespeare. 50 Best Poems of England. I shall be the judge of that. So what do we have here? We got The Parting, Full Fathom 5, Thy Father Lies, When in Disgrace with Fortune. Goodness sakes. Campion, Shakespeare, Shirley, Milton, Lovelace, Burns again, Lord Byron, Wolfe, Cray. So I guess it's a good combination. Not the best binding of England, though. I don't know if these are English or not, though. I don't think so. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This has to be abridged. I think, right? Man Without a Country by Hale. Let's get his name. Is his name in here? There's so little I know about some of these people. Edward Everett Hale. It's giving me goals, though, of people to read more about. Dream Children by Charles Lamb. Oh, our friend Charles Lamb. I talked about him not too long ago. Oh, look, we have another Tennyson in this other version. Okay. Will o' the Mill by Stevenson. I think this is Robert Louis Stevenson as well. Oh, it's crumbling in my hands, this one. Yeah, it is. I don't know how to keep these preserved. Maybe they just meant to crumble. Who knows? Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. I like that one. And A Comedy of Errors by Shakespeare. So we have a few Shakespeare here. I really should organize them so that keep the writers together, whatever, but who has the time? So, that's my little leather library, which, can I just say, I know I have other ones. Like, I think I have a couple laying around somewhere, like, by Turgenev, however I pronounce him. I'm pretty sure I have another one of his. I feel like I do. But, it's been so long. So, I mean, I am really curious because this was, like I said, this was when my phase was, I mean, I was always, when I was buying books, whenever I bought books, I'm in a reading phase. I don't buy books just to buy books. You know, like I've seen people who decorate their houses by having someone buy books by the foot, which I guess is good for the booksellers to make sales, but like, I don't like the thought of just getting fine books just for decoration or for collecting purposes either, just to collect. To me, when I get a book, my deal is that at some point I'm going to read them. So the fact that I've only read a few of these books, like from these anyway, from these volumes, and judging by my unfamiliarity with some of these writers, I obviously haven't delved too far. But, well, first of all, I thought I'd share them this month because of ShakeTube and all that. I know I haven't been doing great with my Shakespeare reading, but, you know, still staying on theme a little bit. But, yeah, I think this kind of, after buying these, I think I started to settle down a lot more with my book buying just to buy collectible thingies. Even though they're cute and stuff, I don't, you could tell by the way some of them are crumbly and everything, that they're not really great for toting around. And because they're older, it kind of makes me feel weird to tote them around on the subway or something when I go on the subway nowadays, which is not very often. So that's another story altogether. But anyway, I thought you'd enjoy seeing this little collection, and I kind of want to know what you think of them. Have you ever heard of the Little Leather Library? Any of you kind of book people? When I say book people, I don't mean just people who read, but people who are into books and book collecting as an object also, or just general if you've heard of them. Would this be something that you'd be interested in collecting yourself, or does it seem like nonsense, like it's beginning to seem to me? I was buying them probably in my late 20s, and, you know, sometimes you change a little bit. Of course, there's other volumes, those Shakespeare and the poets and everything, they're, you know, they seem a little more, like, easy to kind of just beat up a little bit and not worry about them. They weren't expensive at all. Neither were these, really, but I don't know what they're worth. Anyway, so let me know if you guys have anything, not even just these, but any kind of, like, small books, and what you think of them, or also what you think of any of these writers, because, I mean, some of these are, like, the very classic writers, you know, and poets. But, anyway, that's the end of that tour. Just thought it'd be a little in-between sort of discussion. So this is Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and tiny book-filled day. Goodbye.